this one here. Should we like tilt it up this way? This is great. This is great. Joyful evening, everyone. My name is Jessica, and I am here tonight with my sister friend who I adore and love so much. And we're here tonight because, what was it? When did we go to dinner?
It was like Thursday.
Something like that. Okay, so we went to dinner and we were having such a candid conversation, and it was just so authentic. And we kind of were just like talking from our heart space.
Yeah.
And it was just, and in this moment, I just said to her, I was like, you've been on so many interviews, you've shared so much content, you've expressed so much, but I was like, I don't recall you just sitting down having a casual conversation and opening up her heart and just really allowing people to understand how she became the phenomenal woman that she is today. So, welcome.
Yes.
And this is, would you like to introduce yourself?
So Joyful Day, beautiful beings. My name is Sierra M. Clark. Mine's truly yours, maybe, because I'm mine first before I give myself to anybody.
All right.
And in the word, heart is art. And what I do on my daily living with every breath is just share my heart, my art with the world. So that's it, pretty much.
All right. So I am going to tell you guys that this is my first time doing an interview, and we want to just keep it casual. We want to keep it real. So roll with us with the blips, with the mistakes, with all of that. We're gonna laugh. It may get emotional, it may not, but we're about to get raw. We're about to get real. So buckle in. And I got some notes here. Okay, so but it's all coming from an authentic, genuine place, right? All right. So I'm so glad you're here. Like I said, we're not just having a conversation tonight. We are opening a window to the life, heart, and vision of someone, my friend, who has dedicated herself to inspiring and empowering others. She's a life coach. She's not just an artist, as she said a few seconds ago. She's an artist. She's a community activist, and beyond the titles, she's a woman with a story that shaped her by her roots, her resilience, her passion, and her unwavering belief in the power of people. And since I've met Sierra up until now, everything that she does is a reflection of the description that I just shared with you all. Whether you know her work, whether you follow her art, or you're meeting her for the first time, my hope is at the end of this conversation and time together that you would get the opportunity to truly know who she is and be inspired by her journey. So let's begin. Okay, Sierra. So tell us, when you think back to your early years, what's one moment or memory that you feel truly shaped who you are today?
Um, a moment that truly shaped who I am today.
Yes.
I don't just kind of so in finding Sierra, right? So it took me to write my first book to really allow me to go back to my childhood because of the childhood drama and trauma. So it took when I wrote my first book, that was a way for me to finally see what little Sierra had experienced. And so from that perspective, um, I've always been an advocate. So I remember a time that there was a young girl on the street. She lived like three houses down from us when we would be over at my grandmother's, and she was bothered by some boys who was coming to her house because she had older brothers. So all the boys would convene at her house, and she felt like she was having to do things that she did not want to do. And so I just told her, "You have the right to say no." And whatever I told this girl, she used what I told her. And because one of the boys was my older cousin, they came they came in the house a few weeks later and just like jumped on me, beating me up. And I'm like, what's going on? And because Sierra said, I don't have to. So from a little person, I've been helping people advocate for themselves and giving people advice for them to stand up.
Okay, I I like that. That is awesome. Oh, me, y'all. I'm leaning out the camera. I'm leaning out the camera. I'm coming back. Here I am. Okay, so hang on, everyone. Hang on. So I know that you mentioned your book, Finding Sierra, and I read your book. And in your book, you talk about some of the experiences that you experienced within your family dynamic, some of the heartbreak, some of the disappointments. There were times of confusion. There were times of, deep questioning, and times you had to process and understand alone, um, which then led you, I would probably say, down a journey where you were kind of alone in a sense. So, what are some of your earliest memories that shaped the woman you are today? So, when you think about the things that you are passionate about, right? When you think about the things that you speak on and the way that you show up for others, when you think about, and when I say that, what shaped you, it could be something you've experienced within your family dynamic. It could be something that, just what shaped you.
Yeah. So I think I have to, give my grandparents a lot of, you know, kudos for that, because I remember my grandmother saying you don't fight family because you'll always need family. I remember my grandfather giving the example of what supporting family and being present for your family looks like. And so that for me was a lot that shaped me into how I wanted to show up and be present for my family, even when I couldn't see at that point that they didn't really want to drink of the waters. Our mindsets was different, but I was so engrafted in what my grandmother was saying: you need family, you don't fight family, you stick up for family. And so that was really shaped me as far as just my deep family dynamics and roots. And then, but I've always been a lover and a giver. I've always been a person who just wanted to be like a person that just helps you when you're in that moment and you felt like no one was there, because I knew what it was like to not feel like you didn't have anybody.
And how do you show, like, in being that you felt like you didn't have anyone? How does that propel you forward today in showing up for others?
It allows me to do some of my best magicalness. Like I love to do the just because stuff. Like I love to hear someone say that they need something or they're missing something, and like provide it for them, and them not knowing it was me, and you watch the joy come on their face because they got the thing that they were missing or something. And so I think it really is a everyday thing for me. It really has grounded me on just being intentional on who I want to be. Um, because again, I know what it's like to not feel like no one's there, no one's listening, and you have no one who cares. And so that also became like a problem, because I became such a people pleaser or people show upper that I forgot that I needed to show up for myself.
For yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I want to take a moment just to, before we go any further, for people to kind of know where you're from,
Hmm.
where'd you grow up, what you remember about your community, how it impacted you in a positive way, and even how it impacted you in a negative way. And what I mean by that is, I think we all have a story where we may have experienced something
Yeah.
that may have not been the greatest thing, right? So we took something away from that.
Hmm.
We can take something away from that, but then there's also positive things, and we can take something away from that. So tell us where you're from,
Hmm.
what that area was like growing up.
Okay.
Um,
I am snotty nosed barefoot from St. Petersburg, Florida. And I love to say it that way because it just reminds me of the time of the richness of my childhood, where we would be in a heated game of kickball and you didn't care if like snot was running down your nose
the best
while you
time.
running to third base, or you get up early in the morning and you watch Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
So I am from heated games of kickball. I am from red light, green light. I am from picking oranges off of Mr. Bush's orange tree. I am from a candy lady in the neighborhood who just didn't provide candy. She also loved on us and watched us. I am from um, um, I am from rose bushes in my grandmother's yard. I am from dusting whatnots on my grandmother's shelves and crying because I could not mow the grass like the boys. I am from um, watching my grandparents live in separate houses, but still watch my grandfather love and show up for my grandmother. I am from um, the beauty of everything that was there that I didn't see. And so I say that because sometimes, we think, when we think about household, we only see dysfunction. We only see what wasn't working right. But I can now see and understand that even in what wasn't right was still working for my good.
Yes, I
Yeah.
understand that.
So I am from the beauty of my childlike faith always allowing me to still be overly optimistic and just finding hope in everything.
And I know that today, I mentioned earlier that you're a community activist,
Mhm.
and you're very passionate about your community. You're very vocal. You're very bold. You're fearless, and you show up loud and proud in a way that's demanding change. Um, you're loud in a way that says you need to hear what the people have to say. You need to see the people, and you need to make the changes to help the people in my community become the best versions of themselves and help themselves
Mhm.
place themselves in better positions. You want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this new space I'm in within myself. So I've been finding since writing Finding Sierra. I've been finding things about Sierra that I didn't even know. I thought I knew me. No. Um, but I get to discover more and more who I am and what I'm passionate about. On top of already being passionate. And so it was just like one day the veil was torn, the fish scales were off my eyes, and I could now see stuff that I wasn't even aware that was there. And so just not being mad at my dad because he didn't bother, but understanding that the Jim Crow era information is real, understanding that that pipeline to prison is real, understanding the gentrification and the systematic racism, all these things still exist. And so we see absent fathers, we see angry mothers, we see low paying jobs, but we do not connect them necessarily to that there's people controlling those narratives. And so I am now see that I would much rather deal with Jason and the Boogeyman and Freddy Krueger because they're make believe, but the real belief and the real scary thing is that these systems were designed to keep us in a position. These systems were created to strip us of the real things that truly help us thrive. And so now that I can see that, and then not only can I see that, I see to where it has plagued my life, the life that I thought that I was living so boldly. Well, no, I was really shy and da 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 da. But the life that I thought that I had some control over, and the things that I was had fear of, wasn't just my own feeling. These feelings were propagandized into my thoughts. These fears were propagandized from my television, from the food we eat. And so I now see how I was once living a narrative that wasn't true to who I truly am. And so now I want to not only change my narrative, but help individuals how to find self advocacy so they can change theirs too.
I think that's really awesome. And I want to ask, like, when you came to that understanding, if did that help you heal certain places within your heart and certain things that you may have experienced with lack of understanding at one point? Like, at the point of you understanding and at the point of you having a better understanding of the systems put in place, it gave you a better understanding because you mentioned your father.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did that understanding, if I'm making this make sense, help you heal certain parts of you that you may have needed to heal in regards to maybe your dad? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, it definitely did, and then it gave a what I think that the healing is ours still that we have to be intentional about, but
Absolutely.
it definitely I think removed the barricade for being allowing the transaction to even happen. Because some places that we looking for healing, we can't because it's the heart is so hardened. So and then so as far as my dad, yeah, so I can now say that me and my father have a relationship right now. So it makes my heart smile, but I also know that that came with being intentional with um with my heart language, being intentional about the things that really bother my heart. And so um I remember being on a call, and we were talking about daddy girl issues and da 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 da. And I remember saying that the one thing I knew that I would do right, because I felt like I did a lot of things wrong. Just I could be clumsy sometimes and but the one thing I knew I would have done right was be a daddy's girl. Like I knew I would have gotten that right, and I felt like God had shortchanged me, and I was mad at God. And me and God had to have several talks about this because I didn't understand where was my dad and why I couldn't. But on this particular call this day, me and a few other ladies, it hit me how unfair it was for me to want my father to be present in my life if when he wasn't really given the full opportunity to be present in his own life.
Mm.
Yeah. So I realized that okay. So I realized that how unfair for me to be saying I want my daddy when there were intentional things that were choking him that me as a little girl and even the woman who had children from him possibly couldn't see. And all we say is what our man is supposed to do for the women and for the household, but not realizing that the things that they fight against that we cannot see. And so at that point I had the opportunity to change my narrative, to change my voice around that, to say, wait a minute, if he's not even fulfilling his purpose that God created him for, because although he is my father, he was also created to do something great on this planet, in this world. And if he's not fulfilling that, how dare I be selfish to say I want him to fulfill the daddy role in my life? Because first and foremost, he must fulfill the mission and the position that he was created for on this planet, in addition to being my father. Yeah.
I think we talked about, not think, I know we talked about, healing from mother wounds and father wounds and different things like that. And we've talked about before, and I've mentioned before, like like seeing them through a lens of like removing the title mom and dad
Mm-hmm.
and learning to see them for who they were prior to becoming our parents.
Yes.
To understand like some of their life struggles and some of the things that they may have lacked or didn't have or didn't understand, and extend grace
Right.
and compassion.
Yes.
And in that understanding, there's so many parts of us that are able to heal as well. So I think that's amazing. So I know that you mentioned your grandparents played a huge role in some of the things that you carried with you throughout your childhood, like keeping family together
Uh-huh.
and keeping family close. And one of the things that I want to share with everyone is that is very definite and true in the way that Sierra walks out life today. When I met you, how many years has it been? 5?
Oh, I say like five.
It's been like 5 years, and yeah, it was 5 years, and I don't remember the exact time frame, but you had lost a cousin that was very near and dear to your heart, and you started something very special
Mm-hmm.
in remembrance of her.
Yes.
And you also use what you created and started as a foundation to bring your family and your community together. So I would love for you to share a little bit about who your cousin is,
Yes.
what she meant to you, how that's impacted your journey, how that has played a part in some of the hats you wear and how you express yourself, and then